Welcome to Before Floor, the pregame edition of Five on the Floor, brought to you by the Five Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Jonathan, aka Three Piece Combo. Today, we're joined by the main star of the Five Reasons Sports Network, Mr. Ethan J. Skolnick.
Wait,
we're joined by
that's Gad.
Sorry. Whoa. No love for Brady Hawk 305? Come on now.
Who's that? I don't know who that. I don't want to promote Brady too much. I feel like I'm going to lose him in about 2 months.
So. Yeah, he's going to outgrow us for sure. But we also have Gad, and we also have
That's I think like sometimes we don't want that. We don't want that.
And then we also got Timmy joining us as well. Appreciate your presence, my man. But as always, it's around 5 o'clock. So if you guys are driving, make sure you guys get home safe. But if you guys already are at home watching this or watching the replay, make sure you guys like the video. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Five Reasons Sports Network if you like the Miami Heat and all other sports in here in South Florida. And if you guys are young with a family and you want to make sure your assets are protected, you want to make sure you hit up markbrownpa.com. You go like the website's right on the screen, marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call at 954-866-8513. He's going to take care of all your financial asset planning. We live in a crazy world, so if anything does happen to you, he'll take care of you. He's based out of the North Lauderdale area, pretty much services the entire South Florida. So if you have no idea what I'm really talking about, you want to make sure you hit him up. He'll give you a free consultation. Like I said, the website's on the screen, marcbrownpa.com, or give him a call, 954-866-8513. Now, as you guys know, every single pregame show, we do our prize picks rapid fire. Now, if you want to make sure you maximize your money, obviously with the way you always want to make sure you're getting the most out of your money, use the promo code 5, spell that out, FIVE, like it's on the screen. We'll double your deposit up to $100. You can play games for as little as $5. So that's up to 20 free plays if you play your money right. And with our picks we do here on the pregame show, we hit on almost all of our picks all the time. Maybe if we get wrong, even if we get one wrong, you use the flex play, you still win some money. So like I said, go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5, spell that out, FIVE. We'll double your deposit up to $100. Guys, we're playing the Indiana Pacers tonight, and it's coming on the heels of what could be the potential worst loss of the season. So before we move on to the next game, I kind of want to talk about where this team is at right now. So Ethan, since I have you here, I'm going to ask you the burning question, of course. Can this team be a championship contender without major change? As he takes care of Sasha in the background.
Taking care of Sasha, I'm going to the bar. I got a bar in the back here. So let me get something strong to drink before we discuss this. I don't know. What do we... Tequila, vodka. I got the little 99 proof bottles.
I feel like we need a few of these to watch the team right now. Has pushed me to more whiskey than I usually drink.
Yeah, no, my bottle of Jack is gone. I will say this: it ain't great. I mean, I took the game off Saturday night, so I can't be blamed for that one. Brady was there, but look, they've had these highs, like the win against Boston, that seemed like okay, they've got it together. Then the way they played against the Clippers, okay, they've got it together. But here's the thing about bad teams, and I've been loath to call this a bad team, but they have the characteristics of a bad team right now, okay, which is that bad teams can beat anybody on a given night if a team doesn't take them seriously, which you hate to see the Heat in that position where they're the other side of that, or they can lose to anyone on any given night because they're simply not good enough to go with suspect effort in any area and just and handle a team that way. And that's where they're at right now. And look, we got to be honest about one other thing too, as Timmy has disappeared into his bottle of Jack, or maybe it's the Bahamian brand. As we're at this stage, like, you can't keep saying, well, once our core four is together, because the core four hasn't played that well together. And I understand there are bigger issues on this team when we talk about the bench and the depth and all of that and size. But ultimately, if this team's going to do anything, the four guys who are getting paid the most, or at least are projected to get paid the most, because I know Tyler's money hasn't kicked in, but just Jimmy, Bam, Tyler, and Kyle, they have to be great. Like, not like pretty good. Like, they have to be great. If you're going to compete with the Milwaukees, with the Bostons, with Philadelphia, which is starting to get its act together behind Embiid, and now Harden with 16 assists the other night, with the Nets, who are now streaking, okay, and they're up in the 4th spot, with the Cavs, who Brady Hawk and I spent a lot of time talking about on Step Back today, not even to mention the Western Conference, where there's a lot of teams that are kind of sort of in the mix there, but we've seen other teams pop up like the Pelicans, etc. Their core four need to play at an extremely high level. It's happening somewhat individually, but it's not happening collectively. Like you mentioned, PrizePicks, they got 3 guys. The first time I've ever seen this. They got 3 guys projected with the same point total tonight. Hero, Butler, and Bam at 20.5. They got 3 guys who are averaging 20 this year. Caleb Martin's at a career high. They're still not playing well, okay? And so at a certain point, you are what you are. And I think if they have more games like this, they go up with their core group tonight, losing Indiana. You can't make excuses that everybody's hurt just because Gabe is out. That doesn't count anymore.
Yeah, I think to your point, what's happened as Broham sees his tank for Wemby, maybe. I mean, maybe we're going to get steered to that. If we lose more games, I don't see why not. I'm just going to say that. But speaking about the core four, this team has not been reliant, but we've really given a lot of role to the role players, right? We've had a lot of usage for those guys in previous years, right? The Duncan Robinsons playing through him as the offense, having PJ Tucker be the hole filler next to Bam. This year, we don't have those role-playing guys step up to the level as we were for the previous years. So like you said, we need those four guys to play at a high level every single night for us to compete against teams. Because with the way the landscape of the NBA is now, even bad teams have a multitude of great players. And we see that with every team that we play, including San Antonio. We have somebody like Devin Vassell go and hit a crazy last-minute shot that essentially staggers the game for us. So let's get to that fourth quarter execution, Gad. Miami in the first quarter is 10th in the league in scoring. Miami in the fourth quarter is 30th in the league in scoring. What has been the problem with the execution that has caused the disparity between the first and the fourth quarter?
First of all, I like to pride myself on being informed with stats. I didn't. It's 30th in the fourth quarter this year. That is... I mean, honestly, it checks out with the eye test, but that's crazy. Like that really blows my mind. But I think one of the issues is, and you kind of see it league-wide, like offenses kind of just bogged down a little bit in the fourth quarter. Like defensive intensity goes up, and then teams start to rely kind of on like their shot-creating talent to just go out and get a bucket. And when you look at the Miami Heat, who on this team is really comfortable going out and getting a bucket? 2, maybe 3 guys sometimes, and it's a lot of the times 2 of those guys are only functioning within 15 feet from the basket. So things get really ugly really quickly in the fourth quarter. In addition to the fact that the rest of the guys, like who's the fourth best shot creator on this team?
Larry.
Wasn't it supposed to be
Vic, Lowry? I mean, they're being paid as such, right? Duncan, obviously, like that's a lost cause. Like Gabe, if he's hitting like a pull-up mid-range.
It might be
I think it's Caleb. I think it's Caleb at this point, which is the credit to him for his development. But I just don't think they have the overall talent. They have the juice offensively necessary to kind of sustain good offensive performance to that point. Because you can do a lot of bells and whistles through the first 3 quarters, but when teams really lock in and they're really trying to win games, they're going to snuff out your actions, and you're not really going to be able to do all the things that you wanted to do. That's the thing with this team is I think in the fourth quarter, a lot of their issues, granted, Spo, I don't think has had the best year, but a lot of their issues transcend what can possibly be done scheme-wise. They just don't have the horses to hang in some of these games. Now, that doesn't mean they should be losing to the Spurs and the Pistons without Cade Cunningham and all these other under-talented, undermanned teams. Yeah, no, of course.
In their building.
For that.
In their building.
After losing to Memphis with no Ja, Jaren Jackson Jr., Desmond Bane.
Yeah, but like my thing is those losses to me aren't super indicative of who this team is. I think it just shows you the floor of this team and the fact that this build is just not great. I think against these better teams, if you talk about in the playoffs or you're playing against like the Boston Celtics or the Phoenix Suns or some of these teams that we've already beaten once, but I don't think we can beat them consistently. They just don't have the horses. They really don't, in my opinion. They have it on the top level, but I think you need 7, 8, maybe even 9 guys that you can trust. At least 5, 6 guys that you can trust to go out getting bucket. They don't have that right now.
Ethan, do you think it was pride that the Heat didn't like Spider? Mitchell, was it like arrogance in how of the team build?
I don't think. Again, I want to clarify. It's not that they didn't like him. They liked him a lot. But they're. I mean, the factor. Here's the first thing. Okay, if he was a free agent, it would have looked totally different. Okay, and for a lot of reasons. One, Ainge wasn't going to deal with them in an upfront way. So that started. They knew that. They didn't have the draft assets for him to go, to be able to get the, and then there was too much they had to do to get the picks. Too many other teams they were relying upon. But beyond that, and I'll just drop this here. I mean, we've kind of hinted at this. Donovan wanted to play with Bam. Okay. That's who he wanted to play with. I know he does business with Jimmy. He wanted to play with Bam. Okay. I mean, I'll just, and he also understands how hard Jimmy is to play with. He wanted to play with Bam. I'm just going to keep repeating that. Okay.
Correct.
And to get Donovan Mitchell, they were asked to give up Bam. So every conversation after that is a non-starter. Like Donovan had no interest, even if the Heat were willing to trade Bam for Donovan, which they were not, by the way. They weren't willing to trade Bam for Durant, okay? If they were not willing to trade Bam for him, it didn't matter. But even if they were willing to trade, Donovan would not have been interested in coming here. I know he was not a free agent, but he would not have been pleased with the situation if he was coming here to play without Bam. So the Donovan thing is kind of, we could talk about they need a shot creator. I agree with Gad. Obviously, that guy, Donovan Mitchell is that guy, but all the circumstances didn't play out for them. The bigger question for them now, okay, because Caleb Martin, you talk about him being the fourth best shot creator on the team. He is the one guy who has clearly improved from last year to this year. We agree? If we say the biggest improvement on the rock, okay.
Facts.
That decision that they made with PJ Tucker was PJ Tucker or Caleb Martin. Now, if you're going to say they should have done something else, then you got to look at the owner, because the owner put them in parameters not to pay the luxury tax, which means that some of these exceptions they've let expire. They haven't filled the last roster spot. We know all of that, right? So they had one vehicle to use. It was the mid-level exception. Okay. They decided to pay Vic over the cap while staying under the tax. Okay. Because they wanted to take another look at that. We can argue whether that was a good decision, but ultimately the mid-level was a choice. It was a choice of Caleb Martin, PJ Tucker, or maybe a Danilo Gallinari. Look at the list. It wasn't very good. Okay. They chose Caleb. That was the correct decision, in my opinion, over PJ Tucker. The problem is they're hemmed in by the tax. Okay. They're hemmed in by the fact that they can't trade certain players. People are asking here about Shams' report today. Shams' report was blatantly wrong. They can't trade Dwayne Dedmon until the middle of January. They are waiting for January 15th. All the conversations that I've had have said, Spo, figure this out as best as you can. We will try to get reinforcements of January 15th. The question is, how far out are they by then? All right. And is this a lost season? But they are not going to pivot and go after Wemby. Okay. It's not going to happen. A high-ranking Heat official said to me, we suck at that. We can't tank if we want to. Okay? This is a franchise that got Dwayne Wade because they were bad at tanking. They tried to lose the last game in Toronto in 2003, and they won. And that's why they slipped from 4th to 5th behind Toronto. And so Chris Bosh, who the Heat would have preferred, went to Toronto, and Dwayne Wade ended up in Miami. It's not happening. They don't tank effectively. They couldn't even get the first pick to get Rose that year. So they're going to try to plod through this thing as best as they can. But the one fear, and I'll get out of the way here, the one fear that I have for Heat fans is if the team falls out by January 15th, it may be used as a further excuse not to spend any money into the tax and to basically do nothing that's going to push the payroll up, and that is going to piss Heat fans off. But that may be where we're headed.
Oof, that was quite loaded. So let's get back to this Indiana Pacers game. Timmy, I didn't get to ask you anything yet, so
I fully expect, and this is not being a homer, I fully expect Buddy to have a career night again against the Heat. The last time Buddy played in Miami, I was there, and he almost won, but thank God for a drastic and bomb alley-oop at the buzzer that pushes in overtime. We see how this team defends. The Pacers, the last time I checked, they've won 10 games with 6 players going to double figures. Shout out to Halliburton with those. He's averaging 11. But for like the last 2 weeks, he's averaging like 15 assists. This team is going to get ripped apart tonight. Like I have no more faith. I have faith. But this Pacers team, and of course I watch it because Buddy's on the team, but I watch this Pacers team second to the Heat. They play great basketball. Halliburton is maybe the future of, like, when it comes to pure point guards, like he's one of the few young guys who just passes. Like, I love that guy. Between Turner and Smith and Isaiah Jackson, and you have Ben, who's going to probably win Rookie of the Year just because the Pacers are going to have a better record than the Magic. Jabari Smith isn't going to do anything. I'm pretty sure Ben's going to win Rookie of the Year. You have Buddy, you have Hallie, you have TJ McConnell, who was a menace on defense. Like, he has like 7 steals quarters sometimes. It's not gonna look good, guys. I'm sorry. The Heat are gonna, like Ethan said, the Heat are gonna get their numbers, but it just doesn't translate into wins as of late. And now I understand why. I did not know, like Gad said, they were 30th in fourth quarter. That is wow. Yeah, so like Jonathan said, we always hitting our prize picks. The guys get the numbers, but the team as a whole isn't getting the wins.
So I don't know if you read my mind, but my question was literally going to be asking about how Miami's going to stop Buddy Hield and Tyrese Halliburton. So you answered my question without me asking. So let's go ahead.
That's chemistry we've had for unlike the Heat. We have
The
got
last
that
time
chemistry.
the last time you tried to ask Timmy a question, he asked me a question. What's going on this show?
That is the chemistry we have here after 2 months. Unlike the Heat, I foresaw your question.
We have that telepathic.
No G Leaguers on this roster. Promise. These are all high
All
picks.
stars right up here, except Ethan. But
Mm.
we let's get to the prize picks right now. We are like Ethan said, we have a couple of different ones we can choose from. Miami has, like you said, 3 guys at 20.5 points: Bam, Tyler, and Jimmy. So let's go this way, Ethan. Which of the 3 would you pick to go over tonight?
I'd actually play Jimmy tonight. I think. Well, first thing, let's just put this out there again, and I'm gonna repeatedly say that I'm not slandering Tyler when I say this. If it's Tyler that's the one that's over, they're losing. That's just the trend this year. When he scores, when he's the leading scorer on the team, they lose. And it's been that way all year. And there was a comment that Jimmy made, which I know a lot of people are he's pointing at Tyler about this, about people worried about their numbers. I don't know if that was necessarily about Tyler. It would be more about him, I think, than anybody else on the roster. I don't know that it was about him. And I don't know that it's necessarily his fault that at times he has scored because others have been out and they've kind of looked to him to score. But they're better off tonight if Jimmy or Bam is their leading scorer. That's just the way it's been all year long. I think it's going to be Jimmy tonight. He's had, I think he's looked, his legs have looked live lately, which is good. I think that the little rests he's getting here during the season, I was told the knee is fine now. It's actually his back. It's been bothering him a little bit more, but it didn't look like a big issue the other night. So I will say Jimmy goes over tonight. He's going to have to, I think, in this game because they're going to score. My biggest play on this team, Buddy Hield's going over 17.5 in the first half. Okay, so I would play Buddy at 17.5 points for sure tonight. Not just because Timmy's on the show. That's not the only reason I'm saying that, but I do think he goes over tonight.
Yeah, let's get into Tyler Hero. In the month of December, only one game that he's gone under 2.5 3-point shots, right? He's had 5 over 2.5. He's at 2.5 tonight. Are you taking that as a lock for the over, or are you going under tonight?
I don't think anything is a lock with this Miami Heat team, if I'm being honest with you, but I will take the over. I think one of the things that Tyler has started to do a little bit more recently is when he's playing with Jimmy, Bam, and Kyle, he has kind of shifted into that 3-point shooter mold that I think will ultimately benefit him in the long run. So I think he definitely gets his 3-point attempts up tonight. I think you pointed out last pregame show that I was on, I think a couple games he had 8 attempts in a row or something like that. So I think he keeps that going. He probably goes like 4 of 8 from 3. He's been turning up from 3 recently, so I'll go over on that.
Yeah, just looking at the last, eyeballing it around 12, 13 games, he's gone over 8 all but 2 times. So he's been really going over on the volume with the 3-point shots. Timmy, close us out with Caleb Martin. He's here at 11.5 points. Are you going over on that, or are you going under?
Over, because as good as this team is, they do play the pace and they have the size to Caleb. I think Caleb goes off for sure. I know I joked about Buddy going off, but the Canadian Nemad, or I can't pronounce his name, he is in perfect mold to kill the Heat tonight.
I agree with you. I almost played that too. I like that one too. The other Caleb play I like though is over the 1.5 threes. He's been reliable in that regard. God, you're right. Tyler's spotting up because nobody else can. Like he's going to the issue. Right. They don't have. I mean, Duncan Robinson and the way Max Strus has played. I mean, Max getting basically a coach, DNP, at the end of that game the other night. There's no shooting on the floor. Like they've gone from a team that was spreading. You don't have Gabe. Gabe wasn't shooting the ball well anyway. So Tyler has to do it, which means also Caleb's going to get those looks. They're going to keep leaving Caleb open. I would play over Caleb on the 11.5 points and the 1.5 threes tonight.
It's sad. We didn't discuss the most important thing about tonight. This is Depot's first game in Indiana since he got traded.
What's his number at?
Wow, I forgot about that till just now. This is his first game since he got traded from there.
Let's see.
He's
No, I don't
not even
think
on the board,
no,
actually.
he was on his first game back, but I don't think he has been since.
They don't know what to do with him, honestly.
Yeah, that's an easy under, honestly, in my opinion. And he because I think they had him at 9.5 for his first game
And
back.
he went under each time. Yeah.
Yeah,
We're going over or under one left-handed drive with Frick Oladipo.
under. And as you see, Alejandro has the prize picks up there. So, like I said, make sure you guys go to prizepicks.com, use the promo code 5, spell it out FIVE, use that flex play. So, even if you get one of them wrong, you still make some money. So, that's why, like I said, go ahead and maximize your money. Let's get into predictions. Timmy, kick us off on predictions. Give us the key to tonight's game.
It hurt my heart, but bring me him in pride with the Heat lose.
Gad, how you feeling?
The boys feeling numb. Honestly, I don't care if they win or lose at this point. I think changes need to be made regardless. But I'll say that I think they win. I would be surprised if they ended up letting this game go. I feel like last week was as embarrassing as it can get, but who knows how low rock bottom can go.
Ethan, close this out.
My instinct is to say whenever we think they're going to play poorly against somebody, which I think we do tonight, that they play better. But I just don't trust them right now. I don't think that the other night was rock bottom. I understand what they're saying about needing to see the whole group together. They seem to play worse when the whole group's together. I don't know. I mean, Halliburton doesn't turn the ball over. Like you mentioned how he's a pure point guard. He just doesn't turn it over. And I think Miami needs turnovers to get into their offense now and get some easy looks, especially because they can't beat you 3 for 2 right now. And they need some of those transition opportunities, which they're not real good at finishing anyway.
Oh, they're horrible. That's too generous. They are the ugliest team to watch in transition, maybe ever.
Yeah, I mean, the eye test matches the numbers on that. So I just not feeling it right now. Like I think that it's gonna be up and down and up and down. I like the Pacers by 7 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a tough game. I feel like when we go and play in Indiana, it never feels like it's an easy win. They're a tough crowd to play against. And to all your points, I just think this team hasn't really found its true stride yet. And I don't know if they will this season with the personnel that we do have.
Jonathan, maybe they have. Maybe that's the problem.
Maybe this is it. Maybe we've seen the best of this team and it's inconsistent, right? Like this team cannot be consistently good because we know that all 4 guys, the percentage of likelihood of all 4 guys having a great game every single night is just very low. So it's going to be tough for us to win those kind of games. I don't think Miami wins as well. I think it's going to be a tough one for us to pick up. I do think our prize picks are good though. So use that promo code 5.
I'm the only one that has the Heat winning.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I'll say this, Gad. We had 4 on our panel pregame last night, plus NFL Network clean sweep for the Dolphins, and they lost. So maybe this is a good thing that the Heat.
I am changing my Twitter handle to Optimistic Gad.
Don't sunshine pump. You're going to get in trouble, Gad. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Alejandro, take it away to the player interviews.
Jimmy, how frustrating just the inconsistencies with this team. You know, you show obviously what you can be in some games, and then the 2 bad losses this week. How frustrating has it been? It's the up and down nature of this season so far.
That's the league for you. This game as a whole will for sure humble you, and I think that's where we're at. We think we're really good, which we are, but I think we got to go out and improve it more. Be together every single possession on both sides of the floor, and start figuring this thing out and get some dubs, man. I'm tired of answering the same questions, being up here, honestly.
And just to add on to that, Jimmy, like Coach mentioned, obviously this is a pain that you guys have to go through just obviously to get to the other side. Can you just go into that and just from this loss?
I mean, we don't have to go through it. I mean, if we win, I beg to differ. But we're not winning, so yes, I guess that is to say. We're okay, though. I shouldn't say I'm not worried. I don't think that's the right terminology for it, but I mean, like he just said, like we show flashes of what we can be and who we are. It's just, damn, whenever we get away from that, it looks bad. And at the end of the day, we got to be honest with ourselves. And everybody has to be better, 1 through however many people we got on this roster. and figure out a way to win these games, whether it be home or away, no matter what the opposing team's record is, no matter who we're playing. We got to be us at the end of the day.
Jimmy, is there anything you can put your finger on as far as, regardless of the opponent that you're playing, so many of these games are coming down to a few points in the final minutes?
I would just say we think we're that good that we can, we'll figure it out at the end and not do right the entire game, the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. Like, I think UD said it best. We ain't that good. We can't afford to play a 45-minute game or 47-minute game. We need all 48. And hell, if we're going to overtime, we need to play well in overtime too and do everything the right way. I think that's what it is. We think we have talent, which we know that we have, and we think that's just going to do it for us. That's not the formula here.
Jimmy, you've been really clear about how defense kind of leads things for you guys since you've gotten here. Last season, you're top 5 unit, but not to compare it to last season. But what would you point to as maybe why you guys haven't been able to play that same style?
I think it's because we think we can score with the best of them. Everybody, we got guys that can put the ball in the basket. I think we just get so caught up on if we're making or missing shots, or even if you're touching the ball as many times as you want to touch it. I think that's just part of having a lot of really good players on your team, and guys knowing that they can impact the game on the offensive side of the ball. I just think we got to get back to not worrying about offense, taking care of the defensive end, because whenever we playing hard on that side of the ball and we're getting stops when we get onto the open floor, everybody's going to get the ball in. You ain't got to worry about it. So we just got to figure out a way to get some stops.
Jimmy, going back to the offensive end, you did shoot 38% from 3 tonight, but in terms of the season, it being up and down, is there anything you could put your finger on for that? Like, is it are you guys getting good looks, you feel, or is it just shots not falling?
No, we're getting great looks. I think we just got to get more of them. I don't know how many. Yeah, we shot 34 threes. We're always trying to get 40 plus, so we got to figure out a ways to get our shooters a couple more. Max only had 2 tonight. Who else? I mean, I don't really shoot them. But Duncan, maybe get Tyler a couple more. We got guys that need to shoot more tray balls, and it's on us, the individuals like myself, Kyle, Bam, Tyler, the ones that always have the ball, to make sure that our shooters are getting the shots that they need. So we're going to keep looking for them. We're going to be better on that side of it. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Final possession, was the plan to go for the 3, or?
It was a pick and roll between Tyler and Jimmy. It wasn't the cleanest pick and roll, but it's the action that everybody felt most comfortable with, and we just didn't, we didn't get anything like really to put them on their heels. But we got a great offensive rebound and a good kick out from there. When these games always end up like in a last possession, you always think about, I know what the players are thinking. They're always just thinking about the missed shots. We had probably 3 or 4 down the stretch where we missed. They were makeable shots. Tyler's pull up in the middle of the paint. Yeah, I mean, he shoots that shot at 60+%, in those moments. Bam got right to his sweet spot. I get it. Probably people are wondering why I didn't call a timeout. I like those situations, and also Bam's been in that situation where he's won a game, without calling a timeout, and he got right to his sweet spot. I thought that thing was going down. But my point is, you always think about the missed shots, but there's a series of probably 25 to 30 defensive plays we could have done better, and if you just do half of them, so it's not realistic to say that, okay, out of 25 defensive players where it's not our best effort and focus and discipline, okay, say 12 of them, that probably wins us the game by, 6-8 points. But, that's, part of the process of this league is sometimes, going through some pain. Hopefully this pain will drive us to a higher level. We need to get to a higher level. We need to get to a better level collectively. And that's what I'm hoping this, frustration, pain, whatever, anger, whatever adjective you want to fill in there. Hopefully that drives us to a better place, as we move forward. And there's no better way to do it than going out on the road, where it definitely gets tougher. It's only us. It's only the people in this locker room right now, and only us who get on that airplane tomorrow.
The Spurs didn't necessarily shoot the ball well from three, but what did they do to kind of have so much?
That's something we talked about, before the game, that this was going to be a totally different feel than the Clipper game. This was going to be a lot faster pace, and that pace is not necessarily 94 feet. It's just everything they do is with a great motor and intensity, and that's as consistent as anyone in this league. Their half-court pace is probably as fast as anybody in this league, just in terms of how fast they run off of handoffs, how fast and violent they go on their catch and goes. And we didn't handle that pace well. We never really were able to take control of that the way we needed to. That led to either some catch and go drives or fouls in the fourth quarter. But that's a credit to the style they play. They never relent in terms of that kind of that pace and ferocity of how they drive. It's unique.
Second half, no Max. Was that just something you saw? Did he do something?
No, that was a coach's decision.
One follow too. I mean, rebounds. The ball tends to go where it wants sometimes too. But and you said before the game that they are the Spurs and they're going to play the Spurs way. They're going to play hard. We know that. What didn't you like though on the rebounding end? Did you think it was an effort thing or was there something else to it?
No, it wasn't necessarily an effort thing, but their cuts, often led them to offensive rebounding position, where we weren't able to put a body on them. Some of the tip-out rebounds, we weren't there on the perimeter. Times that I thought there was probably 3 or 4 where we could have grabbed it, but we thought the ball was going out of bounds. You can't leave that to chance. And sometimes those end up being karma plays. If you have an opportunity to go for it and put your mitts on it, you got to go for it. And you never know what might happen. Those can be momentum shifting plays when you let somebody make an extra effort. And there's a lot of teams that won't make those efforts. The Spurs are not one of them. They're going to put their nose on the ball, and if it feels like the thing's going out of bounds, they're going to run through the scores table, to make an attempt to get it. And they got a handful of those.
Victor had a few more minutes tonight than he had last game. He's kind of increased his minutes, slowly over the last 3 games. What have you seen from him in his kind of recovery and getting back on the court?
Yeah, the most important thing is just getting his minutes, getting his work, and not having any kind of setback. And everything is encouraging right now so far. He felt great yesterday. I think him being able to bounce back today and have an active game was good. And we'll just continue to build on this. We'll try to keep the minutes where they are, roughly, where they are now, and we'll see where it goes.
Is it kind of a double-edged sword that so many of these games are coming down to 5 points in the last 5 minutes? Is there any reason you can kind of put your finger on for why so many are so close?
Consistency, discipline. I think there's momentum plays throughout the course of the game where if you're up 4, you can turn that into 8. There's a myriad of different scenarios where you can push a lead, or if you're down 2, where you can turn that into a 5-point lead if you're just really rock solid. Like I said, we had the turnovers in the first half that were crippling, where we weren't able to control the game like we were against the Clippers. And then also the inability just to be able to handle their pace and their movement and their catch and go drives. I think throughout the course of the game, there'd be pockets of it where we were able to handle that well. And then there are other times where at key moments in the game, they were able to break us down off the dribble on a catch and go, led to a foul, led to a layup, led to an offensive rebound, things of that nature. Okay, thank you.
Honestly, I don't know. They're putting their head down and getting to their spots and just kind of doing whatever they wanted to do. It's tough pill to swallow, and knowing that we had an opportunity, a game we could have won and should have won and protect home court, but they kind of just putting their heads down and getting to the spots and doing what they want.
Kyle, do you get the sense that you guys are kind of letting some of these teams hang around too long, so it's close and difficult to the end?
I mean, it's professional teams. We're not going to just go out there and just blow them away. But I think we, once they get their confidence going and they get a rhythm, my brother, I see you tomorrow. Yes, sir. Once they get confidence and get a rhythm, they just keep going. And it's just kind of hard to shut that water off once they get it going.
Game to game, do you feel like there are consistent issues, or is it kind of different things popping up each night?
I think we got a lot of different issues, and I think they're all fixable. I think we just got to put our minds together and just do it and get tired of losing.
Supposed to talk about the final play. You guys just kind of want to go for a three. Was that kind of just a missed look that you guys got to like that?
Tyler got a great shot. Bam got the rebound. Kicked out, made a great pass, and Caleb got a great shot. We just missed it. Sometimes most times a make or miss league.
And spoke the other night when you talk about pain points, you talk about just containing on the ball as being the biggest issue. I guess other than stepping up in that way, like what are the factors of fixing that?
Just gotta play, keep your defender in front of you sometimes, and then it's kind of hard to stop one individual basketball player, but you gotta help sync, Phil, and be on the same line.
I wanted to go for the win. We talked about it in the huddle. Give me the ball. Jimmy set a screen. We knew they would switch and kind of just go for the win. And then I think Bam got the rebound, and I think we got another good look. The ball just didn't fall.
Defensively, they didn't shoot the ball well from three, but they had some success in the paint. What were the issues that you saw that hurt you guys on that end?
I think Zach Collins played really well for them tonight. Just being, a big body down low and taking advantage of our switches. Obviously we got to do a better job of keeping guys off the glass and out of the paint, and also defending three at the same time.
John, is there anything you can put your finger on for why, sort of regardless of opponent, so many of these games are coming down to 5 points or less in the last 5 minutes?
Can't put my finger on it, but it's tough as a team who's used to taking care of business, going into games like tonight, games that we're supposed to win, especially at home. So it hurts, it's not easy to swallow, but just gotta go through it. Can't go around it, gotta go through it.
Does it feel like you're losing some of these games kind of earlier in the game when you should be, like you said, taking care of business as far as building a lead?
Yeah, we were talking like at half, we were down 2 and we felt like we could win the game, but just the way that we're playing isn't how we're used to playing. No matter our opponent, we should be playing how we play and making teams adjust to us. I feel like we're kind of playing to our opponent's level.
I feel like I ask you this often, but how frustrating, mentally taxing is just the up and down nature of the season so far? You feel like you take a step forward and then you take a step back.
Yeah, it's tough. You feel good after a couple wins, and then you take a tough L. And it's up and down, like you said, but try not to get too high, not get too low, and stay even keel until we can really get this thing going how we want it.
What's been really the message amongst you guys in the locker room, just amongst you guys through these struggles, making sure you don't let it affect you too much and just kind of keep playing through?
Just sticking together. Put as much as you can into the team and just continue to come together. it's easy to point fingers right now at this time, but I think if we stick together, continue to work through this, like I said, and we'll continue to get better.
Bam, Tyler was saying after the game how you guys kind of talked about going for the win on the final possession. Was that kind of the mentality of the group and that plan to get the rebound and pass it to Caleb? Did you guys just want to go for the win, or was that just kind of the open shots that set?
Obviously going for the win is getting it over with. Yeah, I felt like Caleb was open. It was just short. We'll watch film and figure it out.
What did you see from the Spurs tonight, from their offense in the paint?
I mean, they just ran their sets. Like a usual Spurs team. They run their sets. You're not going to get them off, that rocker. They're just going to keep running their sets and running their sets. That's the biggest thing they did. I feel like they just stuck to what they knew.
Bam, I think after this game, the team is back into the lead in the league for clutch games. It seems like regardless of opponent, is there any reason why so many of these...
Say that again?
Regardless of the opponent, why are so many of these games ending up within 5 points in the last few minutes?
I guess we like a challenge. I don't know. It's not on purpose, but biggest thing for us, I feel like on the defensive end, we lose our communication at times, and that's when it hurts us. That's when they get, back cuts. We get mixed matched on a switch because we didn't communicate. They get a layup, and we had a lot of turnovers tonight. 10? No, we had 10 turnovers. Yeah, it felt way more than that. But I mean, off the 10 turnovers, they had 17 points. I feel like that's the biggest game right there. So for us, we just got to take care of the ball and stick to what we know.
The other night when Spo was talking about the pain points, he was talking about containing on the ball in that way. And I know you're always talking about guarding your yard. Is that pretty much what it comes down to, and in terms of stopping the pain points and all that type of penetration?
Yeah, guard your yard, but also, we got to be in our shrink spots. We got to help our teammate. Even though we want everybody to guard their yard, but, we have collectively to be a defense together.
All right, from Greece, Christos Saltis, go ahead.
Hey, Bam, at this point of the season, what would you like to say that as the biggest issue of your team and you would like to resolve getting better as the season goes on?
What we need to work on more? What? I mean, we got beat on the rebounds. I feel like we win the rebounding battle, limit our turnovers, and force turnovers. I feel like we'll be in good shape every game. Black Lives Matter, people.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for being here for the pregame show. That was for a couple of nights ago. José Matos, querido Santa, me he portado bien. Quiero un power forward y un point guard. What's up, Jose? How you doing? All right. So those were the videos from a couple of nights ago. Now let's continue with what happened today in shoot around. Remember, the Miami Heat are facing the Indiana Pacers in about 45 minutes at Indiana. So let's continue with our pregame show as we finish off with Victor Oladipo, Eric Spoelstra, and Orlando Robinson. Let's begin with Orlando Robinson. We'll go with Oladipo then, and then we'll finish with
I said
Eric
before,
Spoelstra.
as a basketball player, you're always ready for situations like this.
When we looked at your stats, especially after the game you had the other day, the 2020 first one for Sioux Falls in 4 years, are those numbers like, hey, look at me, I'm still here? Do those numbers naturally come out of the game? Are the Skyforce featuring you? In other words, when I saw those stats, I'm like, whoa, I don't care what level that is. In 2020, you're still at 2020.
That's just hustle. I mean, rebounding is just effort, really, and just knowing where to be. And nobody's really featuring me or anything. I was just going out there and playing hard, playing with my team, and we playing very well. It was a 4-game win streak, actually. So it was feeling good. We were feeling good. It was feeling great. So I'll say.
A lot of times teams will say, don't worry, we'll take care of you, you'll be back. A lot of teams say that, just like a lot of coaches tell players they're going to start, a lot of, things like that. Was there a full faith in that, or is there, well, I'll sort of believe it when I see it, the last time they cut you and brought Drew in instead?
You talking about here or?
Yeah, when you got cut from here the first time, but I know that the Heat said, we're still in our mind, we're still going to think about bringing you back. Did you take that on faith that I'll be back soon enough?
Yeah. I just knew that when I went back to Sioux Falls that they expected us to win now that I was there, and that's what I wanted to do, and that's what we did. So I just went there, produced, and did what I was supposed to do, played winning team basketball, and now I'm back.
Is there sort of an empathy for Drew? Because he's playing well, and certainly when he was up in Sioux Falls, he was playing well there also, or is that just sort of the game?
Yeah, it's just how this business is. Sometimes there's availabilities for certain people, certain players. Sometimes there's others. So we both understand. We had this conversation not too long ago.
What do you like about the development aspect of all this? That the organization, be it in Sioux Falls or here in Miami, committed to you growing as a player?
It allows me to get a lot of reps playing in the G League and playing like similar team basketball as the Miami Heat. They have a lot of the same philosophies as we have in Sioux Falls. So, the developmental process is amazing, and I enjoy it. I enjoy getting better.
Is there a message as to what's expected when you come out here, or is it you're just waiting to see if the number's going to get called?
What you said? Yeah. I'm just bring the same thing that I brought in Sioux Falls, just energy, effort, and just try to find my spot and do what I can to make this team win.
This being the first time that you're getting to play back in this building since you left, I imagine means a great deal to you.
Yeah, definitely. It's always good to come, home. My second home. People think I'm from Indiana at this point, so home. It's always good to be here, you know what I'm saying, and get the continuous love that I always get here from everybody. So it's always great to be back in town.
Is it a reflective piece at all about the road that you've had to travel?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely brings some nostalgia, walking in the building, and all the the leaps and bounds you had to go through. But I'm focused on the good energy, you know what I'm saying? And I let the bad energy go a long time ago. So as far as my injury and everything. So but I'm at a good place, you know what I'm saying? And I'm just continuing to build.
Where are you at mentally and physically from the grind that you've been on the last couple of years?
It's a constant battle. It's something that, that doesn't, happen over time. Happen overnight. It takes time. And, I'm doing a lot better, obviously, especially mentally, and understanding, that I've come a long way even now. I still got a long way to go, but, I've come a long way even now, and I'm definitely blessed and fortunate. I just got to stay patient with myself and trust the process.
You guys pulled up underneath. What came to mind about Pacers and your experience here?
I was just looking out. I was looking outside and seeing if anything changed. When I seen the Steak and Shake downtown, I had to take a picture. It brought back too many memories, just from being in Bloom, and I remember probably a couple of months ago, I was like, I wonder if they still got Steak and Shake there. That's interesting. But when I seen it, it definitely had the memories rushing, so it was pretty cool. But it's always good, like I said, to be back in town. I went to school here, so it runs deeper than even the Pacers. You know what I'm saying? I'm like I said, people think I'm from here, so. When they come, and pretty much I am. I ain't gonna lie. So when I when I come here, it's like I said, it's like being at home. So it definitely was a great experience to to come back and reminisce.
When do you guys get back and if you had an opportunity to do anything or see anybody?
I haven't. I'm gonna see some people today. After the game, during the game, I'm sure. So I'm looking forward to that. But we really don't got much time to do much. But I eventually will come back, catch an IU game or two, maybe, hopefully. So we'll see.
How much do you keep up with Miles, TJ, some of the guys you played with this
Come
team?
on, man, I can't not. They're my brothers, man. Forever. It runs deeper than just basketball when you build relationships, regardless of. I follow guys from when I played my rookie year. You know what I'm saying? It's just you build relationships, that run, further than basketball. So, of course, definitely watch them for sure.
Said you moved past whatever bad feelings. What led you to that moment? Where it was like, hey, look, let's turn the page on this. Let's reset for myself.
Things happen to everybody. You know what I mean? That happened to me. Who knows what happens to everyone else? But things happen to everybody, and the way you build your character and who you are as a person is how you handle those moments. And I've always been an optimist. I've always been, the bright side type of guy, and focus on that so that I can maximize who I am. And even though what happened to me was catastrophic, it doesn't mean that I can't still be happy, and I can't still come back from it and be my best self.
We talked to a lot of guys who come off big injuries. Maybe it takes a while to find the joy again. Have you been able to find that again, or did you never even lose it?
Yeah, I don't think I ever lost the joy for the game. I love basketball in general. You know what I'm saying? It's tough to not love it. Obviously it was tough not playing, and you miss it in general, and you just want to be out there playing, and you want to be making have a significant role in while you're playing and stuff like that. But the joy for the game is never ending when it comes to me. And obviously, it's nothing like having the joy of the game and being that vocal point, being the guy, you know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, when you get hurt, things kind of change, you know what I mean? But you got to look at it and understanding that it's a game that I love even before, everything else, before I got hurt. So it's not going to really change.
What have you liked about just what you've done in the first 3 games you've been back? Where do you feel like your game is at this point? What are the good signs, basically, where you
honestly, the great signs is that I feel good after the games. I think that's a huge success. So for me, that's what I'm focused on. I'm focused on going out there playing as hard as I can for as long as I can, and then making sure that, I could do it again the next game.
You say it's the best you felt after games since
I think for the most part, working my way back, it's here and there. There's some games that I might feel a little better than other games. Just like for a guy who's never had injury, there's some games he might feel a little sore than other games. It's similar to me. But for the most part, man, I feel great now. I'm doing a lot better, continuing to get stronger, continuing to get better. And like I said, just trusting the process.
The return of Orlando and having to make the room for him by letting Drew go again.
Yeah, I know this. There's been a lot of movement, at that position, but we still feel great about all of our guys from a developmental standpoint. And Drew was really good here. It's changed now than it was 2 weeks ago, and right now we feel like the position of center is a bigger position of need right now. And Orlando's played really well, but everybody's played well so far in Sioux Falls, and we're just excited to hopefully continue to develop all of them.
So from a need versus his play standpoint, is it balanced or is it more about the need?
It's both, but regardless, we wanted to develop him. We see great promise in his game. He's improved a lot, since Summer League, but it doesn't hurt when you play extremely well and it leads to winning.
As for tonight, I had to double check that this will be the first time that Victor gets to play back in this building since he's left. You always acknowledge those moments and points. What are you hoping for him tonight?
It just shows you how much he's had to go through. The fact that he hasn't been available and able to play back here where he had so many great moments. I know it probably means something, special to him. He has a great feeling about the fan base here and the organization. He had some great years here. And we're just excited that, he's back on the floor and competing and
and getting back into it.
We're on the spectrum of need. Are you allowing this trip to lie? Of course, you'd like to win them all, but you can only play one at a time. And obviously, sometimes they come down to nip and tuck moments like we've seen all season.
Yeah, it's an important week for us. We're aware of that. We have an opportunity to, do something significant on the road. I think each one of our road trips has gotten better, and we're looking to take that next step, hopefully starting tonight.
When you look at position of need, you also cut Drew at a time when Gabe is out. So how do you feel you have point guard covered?
Right now, we have a lot of ball handlers. That's just the nature of things right now. It's very fluid. Gabe will be coming back, hopefully, sooner rather than later. In the meantime, our ball handling with Kyle, Tyler, Jimmy, Vic, we feel okay. That also could change, in a week or two.
And then saying center's a position of need, what does that tell us about where Dwayne Dedmon stands?
The same. He's doing everything he possibly can to get out there and be effective. Those are not easy injuries to manage, but I really admire him, for the work that he's been doing. We just want to make sure that, we have added depth there in case of need.
A lot of time the word coach's decisions, a lot can be read into that. So Max not playing in the second half, was there something personal? Was there something the way he was playing? Was there trying to get something else in there? That were just two words that were left in the wind. So the background on that, was it from a strategic standpoint, rotation standpoint?
The attempt was to, spark something, with that second unit. Max will be back in there, tonight. That was a coach's decision that I don't know if it went well or didn't go well. We didn't win the game, and I'm just trying to stabilize some things there.
Thank you.
Generally, you guys have been good about keeping teams out of the paint, but just in the 2 of the last 3 games, what have you kind of?
It has to change. Our point of attack containment has been poor. Last couple of games, being able to contain the first dribble without it being a straight line blow by. Yes, we pride ourselves on being a help defensive team and being aware on the weak side when to pull triggers and trap the box, but we don't want to depend on that every single possession. And we're better at containing than what we showed.
Apologies, I'm sure these guys have already asked, but what's just impressed you about Vic in his first 3 games back? And
It's more about his perseverance to get back to this point. That's been a long journey, and he's had a couple different setbacks. That'd be frustrating to anybody, but he's always kept a positive spirit. Really worked behind the scenes, and I really commend him, for that kind of fortitude. It's tough to do it when nobody's paying attention, nobody's watching. It probably would be natural to kind of lose hope at times, but he has great character and fortitude, and we're excited to have him back out there in the mix.
What have you liked to just know about what he's done on the floor? I mean, what have been sort of the good signs you've seen in?
Yeah, and it'll get better. I mean, this is really just at the beginning, but his speed, his quickness, his burst, these are things that, his athleticism, our team needs that. On both sides of the floor. He's elite defensively on the ball. He'll get a better handle of how we do things on the weak side. I think he could be extremely dynamic in all of our different schemes defensively. And then offensively, he'll build a rhythm. He's a talent. I want to view this with a big picture. I'm not expecting all of it to happen this first week. And we're not going to force it either. We're trying to build that second unit and get them collectively more comfortable.
All right, that was Coach Eric Spoelstra talking about what he expects from the team now that they have Orlando Robinson back, now that Max Strus maybe made some adjustments, and we'll see what happens tonight as Victor Oladipo comes back to Indy for the first time since he was traded away from the Indiana Pacers. Have a good night. Enjoy the game. We'll see you later here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel as soon as the game's over. Post-game show live with the 5 on the Floor crew. And if you want to hang out with us here, we're going to have the live score going on as well. If you want to just share your thoughts during the game. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us. And we'll see you later here on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. Bye-bye.